Hello, everyone. Welcome. I can't believe it. It's episode 6 of our Get the Skinny on Beachbody weekly chat. Pretty darn exciting. And tonight we're going to be talking about time management. And this is something that anybody can use no matter what you're doing in this life, whether you're just a busy mom trying to organize your life, your kid's life, and your husband's life, or like us, you've got a little side action going on. You're trying to build a business and change, what it is that you're doing with your life. So, and fulfilling your dreams and bringing your dreams to a reality. So I just want to say tonight on our panel we have Shelley Kraft. Hello, Shell. Karen's Wood is with us tonight. Matt Detrick. And we also have Amethyst. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what time management is, and then I'm going to get to asking our panel some questions. So I hope you'll stick with us. It's going to be fun. But first of all, what the heck is time management? And most importantly, why is it every time I mention it to anyone, they run in the opposite direction screaming? Well, I think it's because the classic definition of time management is that it's the process of planning and exercising conscious control over the amount of time spent on specific activities, especially to increase effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity. I think for just about anyone, that's a sufficient reason to scream and run in the opposite direction, because it sounds pedantic and boring and doesn't really get to the core of what it is. For me, my definition is that time management is the liberating tool or habit which one can use to discover time and use it more effectively to turn their dreams into reality. That's my definition of time management. And that's the one that really fires me up, and I hope that works for you too. But hopefully you will implement time management in your life at some point, because it is truly freeing and liberating. That's what I've discovered. I used to be one of those people who ran screaming in the opposite direction, because I said to myself, it's just one more thing to do. But once you do it and you make it a habit, there's no turning back. All right. So I'm just going to share. There are mountains and mountains of tips and tricks having to do with time management. But what I did tonight is I picked out my 5 favorite ones, and I'm just not going to go into them in a whole lot of depth because we only have a short amount of time, and I want to get to the questions. But the ones that I like the best and that I focus on most is, first of all, that without time management, you're failing to plan, therefore you're planning to fail. I hear so many people say, I don't have time for the things I really would, want to do and would love to do. But if they were to plan and use some type of time management, they would discover that they might actually have that time. The other one is that once you start using time management, it's really important to complete the most important tasks first. In other words, every day you need to identify no more than 2 or 3 crucial tasks and do those first. And once you do them, focus, and this is really hard for me because I'm a multitasker, but focus on them one at a time and get, do them as completely as you can in the time allowed or that you have available. And the third tip is learn to say no. This was a really hard thing for me to do for a long time. Everybody, maybe it comes from living in the volunteer state, for 6 years. But, when people would say, can you help with this, or can you do that, or would you be interested in such and such, I always wanted to say yes. And I did quite often. And, you really, as hard as it is, we really, if we really are on a path to doing something that we're truly passionate about, and for those of us here, it's life and health coaching, you really have to only take on those commitments that you know that you have time for and that you truly, truly care about. And then the next tip would be, you got to moderate the amount of time that you spend on things that we think about as downtime activities, watching TV, movies, gaming. I don't have the gaming problem, but I didn't really grow up in that, that when that was becoming a big thing, but the rest of my family does. But anyway, that aside, just really quickly, one of the things that my husband and I have done, because our habit is every night to watch a couple of shows and eat dinner. Well, what we did is we started, because he's got his own thing, he's a writer. We did time management together, and we decided that certain nights were working dinners and that we would only, watch TV maybe 1 or 2 nights a week. It's a sacrifice, but if you're really passionate about what you're doing, sometimes it's one you do have to make. And then number 5, this is one, of course, that's near and dear to all of us who are health coaches. It's really important to get plenty of sleep, exercise, and eat healthy, because those are the things that are going to fuel you and keep you strong. Because when you're finding your extra time and you're using it productively for something else, nothing from nothing, that's adding something new on top of everything else that you're doing. So you need a good amount of sleep. You got to eat healthy, and you got to exercise, stay active, so that you have the energy and the nutritional support to keep you going through all of it. Okay, so that's all I have right now. So we're going to get to our questions. And the first question that I'd like to ask all of you tonight is, what system do you use for time management, and why do you think it works well for you? And Shelley, how about you start?
Okay, cool. So I have my handy dandy journal. So okay. It's really cool. So this week. Every Sunday, I sit down and I figure out who has to be where when, because I have 3 kids. So between Dave, my hubby, and my 3 kids and me, everyone has a different color pen, so I can see who needs to be where when quickly. And then I write in my work stuff, and I write in at the bottom, there's different things for priority, which you were saying the top 3. There's 3 spaces. Then you know what you're talking about, Cal. And then
Yes.
There's secondary, and then there's other. So those I kind of tackle daily, because that can change, like things that I might think I need to do Friday on Monday might change between now and then, because I already have like the kids' activities and stuff written in stone. So those aren't those things, but those are aside from those. And that's the only thing that I have stuck with. I am the queen of buying the organizational things and watching them pile up. So this is one thing that I actually have stuck to for this year, and it helps a lot. When I start seeing shiny things, I can look and be like, no, what do I need to do? And I want that check mark. I want that stuff checked off and made sure that I did that. And another thing, like you were saying about focusing on one thing at a time, but there are certain things that can work for you in the background, dishwasher or washing machine, so make sure you build those things into your day, but that you are like, I have my shake every day while I'm emptying the dishwasher and drying that stuff and putting it away. So I'm kind of doing, sorry, there's a fly here. I'm doing a couple things at a time, but it's, it's not wasting time. And that's just my normal routine is I work out and I have my shake and I put the dishes away and I clean the kitchen. That's always first thing in the morning. So creating those habits helps too, because then you don't think, you just do it.
Yeah, and that's a good point, and I thank you for bringing that up, because that would be, if I was going to, I think I mentioned 5 tips. There was a 6th one I was going to add. That was the one that I would have added, which is turn some of your regular time management things into habits, and that is a time when it's actually kind of okay to multitask.
It's kind of like background that you don't have to sit there and drink your shake. You can do other things while you're doing it.
Right. Okay. And I'd just like to draw everyone's attention to the fact that we've had Tom Birkenmeyer join us. And Tom, just to bring you up to speed, we're talking about time management today. I talked a little bit about what that is and what my definition of it is, and mentioned some tips. And now we're talking about what system we use for time management and why we think it works best for us. And Karen, would you like to go next?
Okay. Looking for a job and going on interviews and things and working temp jobs, it seems like my schedule always changes. So I just, kind of just write things down on a calendar, but it's always changing. And I always, for the most part, do my workout in the evening. Like I'll eat and then I'll do it like later before I go to bed. So I know there's things like follow up with people and invite people, and so I kind of think about, okay, when can I message this person? They may be working, or they'll be able to. So I don't really have a set thing that I do. So.
Yeah, that's fine. But you bring up another good point, which is, you have to be adaptable and flexible with your time management. Like Shelley, I sit down one night before my week starts, 1 or 2 nights before, and I map everything out. I have a form I use, and I map everything out. But while planning, while you plan, you also have to plan and be adaptable and flexible, that your plan is going to change because things are going to come up. And you have to remember not to be hard on yourself. It's just like with our workouts or our clean eating or drinking our Shakeology. If something gets in the way and our plan doesn't work, then it's just regroup and then get back to it. But don't be hard on yourself if the plan you make for a certain day or even an entire week doesn't work the way you that you set it out to. It's like everything. It's not what happens to us. It's how we deal with it. And a lot of people give up because they go, oh, this doesn't work because, I set up this whole beautiful plan and everything, went to what. But that's life. But the point is, if you stick to it, most of the time it's going to work. And just remember to be adaptable and flexible. Okay. All right. Matt, do you have anything you'd like to add about time management? Has that been something that you've tried? Is it a tool that's worked for you? Do you have an opinion about time management?
Oh my gosh, opinions. They're worth a dime a dozen. Mine, not so much. No, yeah, time management for me, it's definitely allowed me to do a lot of things. Like, I won't share everything, but from June to now, I've been through 1,000,001 things, and I think that time management has definitely helped me get through every one of them. I use things like binders like this. Like this is my Beachbody binder from Super Saturday, this whole thing. And then I have right in front, when we're talking about priorities, it's my why. Tom had us do a thing where it's, why am I doing this and what will be different as I achieve my most important goals? I wrote about that. And another question is, who do I want to become? How do I want to be remembered? Who or what do I want to impact? How or with who will I spend my time when I have freedom of my time? And then are the answers to those questions going to pull me every day beyond the power of my circumstances? And my answer to that in really big letters was absolutely. And if you're asking yourself, well, what does that have to do with time management? Everything. Because when we're talking about priorities, I think that, it could be when we're talking about like, oh, the cost of something. Somebody says, well, I don't want to buy it. Chances are it has nothing to do with the money. It's what is their priority in their life right now, right? So 2 things that I use to manage my time that work like gangbusters are a timer. So you work for like 30 to 45 minutes at a time and just focused work. Turn off all distractions and then take a break. get away from put your phone down, turn it off, put your computer in the oven. Well, maybe not the oven. I'm standing by my oven, so that's why. But yeah, just like take a walk, go around the block, go for a run, whatever it is. But the point is, you just got to get outside of the focus work mode, because when you do, it creates space so you can come back and be productive again. And then the second thing, I guess I can show you guys real quick. It's a whiteboard that I use. So this up here, don't pay attention to this. This is something totally different. But basically, I can use this to map something out. So this is a model for something that I'm writing about.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just, erase it, take pictures of it, send it to my phone, do like a whole bunch of the different things. But those things keep me organized, because if you're anything like me and your mind is like a squirrel chaser, you got to have those things to keep you focused.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I totally agree, and just to let you in on a little secret, even after I became an empty nester, sniff back in May, I still use I have this that I use and I carry around with me, but I still use the whiteboard too. You can't see it, but it's over on the wall. And between those two tools, I keep my life in order, which is often quite difficult to do. So, and we've got Lisa join us. Fabulous. So,
Hey.
Lisa. So, just to bring you up to speed, we've talked about the definition of time management. We talked about some tips having to do with time management, and now we're talking about the tools that we use and why they work well for us. So, would you like to go next?
Here.
Here's the spot.
I'm not quite sure what you all have talked about.
Well, I guess I'm after you, Lisa.
I'm sorry?
Well, maybe Amethyst would like to talk about time management. Do you use time management in your life, Amethyst? And how does it work for you if you do?
I make lists all the time.
Great. Awesome.
So, yeah, all the time. So that's pretty much what I do.
Okay. Well, lists are great.
The list that I needed to make.
And usually, you know what, like you were saying about getting at least 3 things done.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the priorities at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So you're doing it too. That's awesome.
Have you talked about time blocking or making lists on mobile phones?
Well, if that's what you do, then you should talk about it.
Well, one thing that I do, because I have to do it on the fly a lot, is if I don't have a pen and paper, I have my memo pad on my phone. Mm-hmm. It has this wonderful thing that lets you do a list. It makes a little square in front of it, and then when you check it off, it grays it out. That way, when I go to do something and all of a sudden I've forgotten my paper, so I don't know what I'm doing next, I can just push on it and see it.
Awesome.
And so that helps me a lot, because you've got your paper, you do your time blocks, you get your morning routine, but there's always something that's a wild card. And you're always running out somewhere, you're at the store, you're someplace, and something occurs to you. And it's nice to have it because we carry our devices everywhere. And so if you forgot that little piece of sticky paper with your list on it, you've got it right there with you. And that helps me a lot, because it does help me from having to get in my car and driving a half an hour or 45 minutes home to get the list to go back. So that's saving a little bit of time.
Awesome.
Somebody told me about that, and I always forget to do that on my phone.
I
It's
use
saved
the
me
notes
so
a
many
lot,
times.
but I don't have the checkbox. I want to find the checkbox part. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, on the phone. That's it. Notepad or whatever.
It's in the notepad. Do you have an Android or an iPhone?
Android.
I've got a Galaxy 7 Edge, and it's it says memo, and that's where you put your notes in. But at the top, it gives you like things that you can do. You can bullet point, you can make a task. And if you put the task, it puts those little boxes in there, which is really nice.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for bringing that
That's how
up.
Mara got to college.
All right, so Tom, I think you're up.
Cool. What would you like to know?
Well, what specific time management system do you use, and why do you think it works for you?
All right. In the beginning, when I first got involved, Craig Holliday, who was an early Beachbody consultant, taught us something really valuable. And to this day, I use this when I'm talking to other people and even for myself whenever I need to. But he had us go through a really cool exercise of taking a sheet of paper, dividing it into two halves, a left half and a right half. And then in the left column, I would write down real life. In the left column, I would write down priorities. In the right column, I would write down real life stuff. And in the priority column, we would all write down what our priorities were. And it was generally a very short list, like 2, 3, 4 things, like, I don't know, money or new Beachbody business, family, maybe a spiritual side. And then on the real life column, it was everything that we actually did. So we'd go through like an audit of our day, everything we actually did. And then while we were, struggling with debt or whatever, we wanted to be able to fire our boss, which is my goal. There were things in the real life column that had to go. So we would go through each and every item on our right column of what we're actually doing in our real life, and we would begin crossing things off, everything that did not line up with the priority. If something didn't line up with the priorities we have, it has to go, at least temporarily, maybe add it back later after we get our freedom of time. And so I've been able to add a lot of those back because I got my freedom of time now. But at first, I had to get rid of like everything that did not line up with my priorities. So that was a game changer for me. And then from there, I could make these to-do lists. I love to-do lists. To this day, I use them no matter how much free time I have. I just like having those lists. So then I know what my priorities are, and I write down what I have to do in a day. And if it's not a priority, it doesn't have to be done. But if I have time, then I'll get it done. And nowadays, usually I can do priority and non-priority things, which is pretty cool. But in the beginning days, I could not. So that was incredible. I guess you could file that under instant gratification. Like there's things that we enjoy doing that may be fine things, but in the meantime don't line up with our priorities that might be suffering or out of balance. So you have to delay that gratification and add them back after I viewed it for myself as after I've earned the right to have them back in my life. And so that's how I looked at it. It was just extra motivation to build this thing. And I guess nowadays, my to-do list, and back then too for that matter, always has the vital behaviors. Use product, so for me that's easy peasy. I enjoy a glass of Shakeology every day, a workout, whatever, Beachbody workout. And then another thing on my to-do list every day that's a priority is going to be invite people and create attractive content around things I enjoy talking about. So those are my, at the top of my to-do list every day are those vital behaviors, and then beyond that is whatever else the day has. If I have an appointment for this or that, or if I'm doing laundry, I can write all that down, whatever.
All right, awesome.
That's terrific.
That's about it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I'll bet that's an eye-opener. I've got to do that. I bet it'll be a real eye-opener.
It is.
I recommend, I highly recommend if you haven't done it, and even have little calls or trainings with your individual teams, and you just get together and do that exercise where you draw a line down the center of paper, make 2 columns, left and right. The left side is priorities, the right side is real life, and just do an honest audit of your real life, everybody, and then start crossing things off that don't line up with the priorities that are currently suffering, and then add those things back in as you get more time freedom. Or maybe some things have to go permanently, like if somebody's smoking, well, they're spending money and time on something that doesn't line up with anything. So that might.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there, but that is a perfect segue into my second question. We're under the 10-minute mark now, but I think we've got plenty of time to get through this.
Things that's in alignment with your priorities, like inviting and creating content, getting people into challenge groups. And then you start turning over that residual and passive money, then you can go out to the pool hall or go dancing or whatever it is.
All right, thanks for wrapping that up, Tom. And as I was just saying, because we thought we lost you there for a second, that what you're saying is a perfect segue into the second question that I had for everyone, and that is, for however long you've been practicing time management or using a system, what is the one thing that you know that you need to cut out of your schedule or out of your priority list that you haven't done yet? Shell?
Out of the priority list or out of the real life list?
Out of the real life list, yeah.
Okay, that's
we
better.
perceive it as a priority, but it's something we know that we need to get rid of.
Okay, cool.
If I'm being totally honest, because I have taken someone's trainings, so I have cut a lot of my day. I used to play a ton of different Facebook games. I got rid of all of them except one because I do believe that helps with the brain, like fighting off Alzheimer's. So I do that, and I don't even play that one every day anymore. But I'm still a scroller, and when that little notification thing turns red, I have to know what I have to click on it. So what I decided to do a couple days ago, but I haven't done yet because it's scary and I need to do it, is I'm just going to put a Post-it note over that part of my computer. Because I don't trust that if I turn the notifications off, that when I'm done all of my priorities and I have a little free time, they'll all be there when I turn them back on. So if I put a Post-it over it, I can't see it. And then I can stay on task, because that is my biggest deterrent to staying on task and getting those vital behaviors done, is seeing that little red thing. Someone commented and I gotta know what it was. So that's definitely my biggest. The scrolling and the notifications have to go.
Yeah, and you'll also notice in a lot of the training from top Beachbody coaches, one of the things they mentioned very early on is turn off your notifications before you start working. So yeah, it's a biggie. It's a biggie. Yeah. All right.
But I have gotten rid of, like, during the day, because I do turn on the TV while I'm eating lunch sometimes. Other than that, no TV during the day. I don't have that distraction. I've cut out a lot of stuff, but that's the one thing that's still like.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Karen, what's the one thing you need to jettison?
I probably should spend not as much time on Facebook. I say, oh, I wonder who, responded. And then I find myself, getting pissed off. God damn that fucking Trump. So, and I can't, I had to unfollow some people because I don't want to see that bullshit in my news feed. So, anyway, I know of some people that lived in Puerto Rico, so really,
yes, it's very, there's a lot of very emotional stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, and then
there's a lot of distractions there, things that people are trying to do to rile people up, whether they're true or not. And yes, minimizing time on Facebook is probably a good idea, unless of course you're posting, you're posting content, dedicated to your
one
business.
of the behaviors is, when you get new friends on Facebook, you actually want to comment on their posts, and so I do comment on people's posts.
Yep.
And post, if they post political things or, and I'm in agreement with them, then I will say yes. Then maybe I'll, post a meme like, that bitch said what, and so, things like that.
All right, this is a family show. Let's keep it clean. This is not the after party. This is not the AP. Okay, yeah, no, you're totally right about the Facebook thing. And that would be, something that you would time block. Okay, I'm going on Facebook now, and I'm going to spend 20 minutes, scrolling through posts and connecting with people, so forth and so on. Or, whatever the case may be, whatever task you're on at that time. So Matt, how about you? What do you need to cut out? We're down to like 4 minutes, so we got to move it along here.
I gotta cut out something? Oh my gosh. No, so for reals, what I've learned to do lately, it's more like I've learned to say no to people, because I had a tendency in the past to, oh yeah, I could help, but then it was a detriment of my life and what I could do to, it's the adage when you're on an airplane, put on your own oxygen mask so you can help other people.
Right.
Totally.
All right, perfect. Okay. Amethyst, how about you? When you're making your list, is there anything that's on there perpetually that maybe shouldn't be?
Pretty much everything everybody just said.
Yeah, no matter how different we think we are, we're pretty much all the same, aren't we? Okay. All right. Lisa, how about you?
Well, I have a lot of stuff, and I'm working on them. I'm working on giving them up. I did a couple of months ago, I wrote a blog because we were asked to give up a complaint. And one of the complaints I had was that I never had enough time. So I decided to give that up, and I had to figure out what one of the things would be that I could do. And I decided that if I stopped arguing, I would save a whole lot of time.
That's a good one.
Good.
Wow.
When I talk to people, I want to make my point. And as you probably know from me being here, I can make my point a lot. But if I just said what I wanted to say and felt secure enough in myself that it was heard and, listen to the others say fine and get on with what I was doing, I wouldn't spend 20 minutes trying to argue with what I should get at the grocery store or what I should pick up or not. I could actually be doing it.
There you go.
And it helped. It got me about 3 hours one day, then 12 hours the next, and then it disappeared. So I think I'll get it back out again.
All right. All right. Okay, we gotta give time. We gotta give Tom time. We're down to 1:42.
A minute 42? Shoot. Okay. The two major things I gave up when I first started was TV. I cut that out cold turkey, and going out to eat. So that saved me both time and money.
Mm-hmm.
I have not added TV back because I haven't missed it. I've added going out to eat back because I did miss it, apparently. So I love going out to eat. And I also cut out, Lisa, that's a good one, arguing. I remember making a conscious decision for my personal development studies. Yeah. It's time to stop arguing with people. And Matt also said, being selective with who you give your time to instead of trying to help everyone because you can't. And there's so many reasons why that I don't have time to get into right now, but that made a big difference too. Yeah. And pretty much what I think everybody else already talked about. And as far as the Facebook notification goes, I did have to train my brain to be mono-focused on one activity at a time. So when I would go down that checklist of vital behaviors as my priority checklist, if I was inviting and the notifications went off, I would not stop. I actually kept my notifications on to train my brain. So I never turned those off. I kept them on to train my brain. So it's like, okay, they're going off, but I have to finish these invitations. And then when it was time to get caught up in notifications and somebody was writing me back, too bad, I have to finish my notifications and I'll get to that next or whenever it's on my list.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to run out of time any second, but thank you so much, everyone, for being here this evening. And for those of you who are watching this after the fact, by the way, if you ever join us live, you'll be invited to the after party, and it's pretty darn exciting. So until next time, thank you very much, and we'll see you again very soon.